We'll go upstairs for a question.
Nate Ryan, USA Day. For Kyle or for Dave Rogers, even though Jimmy got penalized for speeding, he was leading you guys coming into the pits, and then you guys still beat him out of the pits. Did that surprise you that he was actually caught speeding when you guys seem to have the advantage both ways?
Yeah, it's surprising that the 48 got caught speeding. He typically doesn't make those mistakes, but you got to give a hats off to Kyle Busch and our entire M&M's pit crew. They've been stellar on pit road all day and all year for that matter, and I think that put the pressure on him. I think Jimmy is probably just trying to make up a little bit. He saw that Kyle closed to his back bumper coming to pit road, and he knew our pit crew is pretty strong, so I'm sure he was just trying to get all he could get, and he just went a little bit too far.
Go ahead, sir, in the back.
Thank you. Brian Keith, FrenchFresh.com. This one's for Coach Gibbs. As you mentioned, Denny had an excellent day today as well, and he's last time we were at this track, he really struggled on Sunday after getting into some trouble in the nationwide race. This weekend also has problems in the nationwide race, but able to shake it off and has a much better run on Sunday. Like, with all the adversity he's faced since the chase last season, like, what changes have you seen in him going forward?
I didn't get the last part.
Just all the adversity he's faced so far this year and the fact now that he's on the hot streak that he is, like, what changes have you seen in him going forward?
Well, I think Denny, I think, is basically coming into this year, I think we kind of all would have said he's a threat at certain tracks. I think what he's kind of showing now, he can win any place, and that's good for us. I think Denny is maturing, obviously a very solid, does not make mistakes. I think the nationwide race, I think to his credit, I really appreciate it, and I told him last night after the interview that he gave, I really appreciated the way he handled that, because basically he said, hey, look, I tried to get underneath, didn't, and misjudged it, and I appreciate him and the way he handled that. It's exciting for me to be a part of knowing that we have three young guys that can drive cars the way these guys do, and then you got crew chiefs and team and everybody with our sponsors and everybody. It's a thrill for me to see, to be a part of this. I think JD and I and Coy, everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing is thrilled to be a part of this.
Yeah, David Newton, ESPN.com. This is for Kyle. You talked about patience and kind of letting the car come around. Do you think in the past you may have overdriven a little bit to, when it wasn't quite handling like you wanted, that maybe everybody talks about the new Kyle? This is kind of part of what we're seeing here?
Another victory for Kyle on that one. Maybe. I don't know. I'd like to say that I was smart then too, but I know I'm a little bit smarter now. So for me, it's just, I knew what I had, and I had a fast race car. If it was a loose race car where I was drifting backwards, I probably would have overdrove it. I probably would have slapped the fence a few times and whatever. But we were still running fourth. We weren't falling too bad. We were losing time to the leaders, but there wasn't really anybody behind us coming, so I wasn't too worried about it. But we had a good car today where we just had to keep plugging at it and trying to fix it. And if we went the whole day without fixing it, we were going to run probably fourth. And that wasn't going to be too bad. It's just the way that we need to keep plugging at it and keep getting these solid finishes in order to keep going and stay up there in the points for when the chase rolls around.
Any further questions?
Nothing further from the press box.
Go ahead. Hold on. Go ahead, Don.
If all my toes and fingers are correct here, over the 3 days, you led 494 laps. Have you ever led that many laps in one weekend?
I don't do all the math, so I don't know if I've ever been as good as probably. I think Bristol. I think I ran the truck race. I led much of it last year and won, and then I led. No, I didn't. I got wrecked on like lap 20, so that doesn't count. And then, the night race I led like 450 of them or something like that. So, I've had respectable runs like that before. But, this weekend, if only we could have had Friday back, man, that certainly would have set home a little bit better. But, I'll go home tonight and put my head down on the pillow and sleep pretty good anyway.
We got one more upstairs.
Monty Dutton, Gaston Gazette. Kyle, I apologize for the lateness. I was trying to figure out the best way to phrase this. I know that recently Denny Hamlin was talking about how you and he had kidded about this rash of new Kyle Busch. I mean, there would always have been only a new Kyle Busch if you won every race. Isn't it the test, not when your times are good? I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with the old Kyle Busch, but, I mean, it isn't really much of a test to be a great guy when you win a race, is it?
Point taken. Another victory for Kyle. Whenever you say new Kyle, man, I'm tarting him up. That's right. No, I mean, yeah, that's very true. I mean, of course, after Friday, I wasn't too pleasurable to be around. I think Pockers can probably vouch for all you guys, but I hope he doesn't. Anyway, you know, it was a tough deal to go through, of course, when you lead that many laps and then have it stolen away from you at the end of the race. You're always going to be upset about it, but you know, I take losing very hard, and that's why I hate to lose as much as I do. So, you know, the seventh place that I had at Darlington, you know, I was fine with it. I was pleased with it, and you know, I wasn't happy about it, but I was pleased with it anyway. We had a good run, you know, and we walked away from there knowing that we ran a lot better this year than what we did last year, and so you know, I wasn't mad, upset, throwing things, nothing that we ran seventh and gave it up at the end. You know, just it was unfortunate.
One more from upstairs.
Yeah, Kenny Bruce with SceneDaily.com. Kyle, what was the radio issue early in the race, and how important was it for you guys to get that corrected?
I don't know. It was a radio gremlin. I flipped back and forth on the radios a few times, and nothing worked. You know, I turned the backup radio on, flipped the box to go to the backup radio. That didn't work. Turned it off, came back to the primary one, didn't hear anything for about another 30 laps. And then, you know, all of a sudden, Dickerson and Dave were talking about how NASCAR was going to pull us down under the next caution and make us fix it. And I'm like, oh, no, they're not. Here I am. And so, you know, it all turned out just at the right nick of time that we had radio communications all of a sudden appear. So that was pretty good.
Okay, anything further?
Vince Bonfigley, WNJC Radio. Kyle, you were asking for a newer, I guess everybody was asking for a newer tire to put rubber down. You got the tire that put the rubber down, but apparently a bit too much, and you kind of reverted to a one-groove track. How hard was it to maneuver through all that?
Well, I don't think it was a one-groove track at all. I think you had to move around a lot. You know, you could either go below it, you could straddle it, or you had to go above it. You know, so there's three different ways with it there. But, I mean, it was tough. It did put down a lot of rubber, more than what we typically see here. I think the biggest thing that we saw is it was harder to get underneath it. Normally, with the old car, you'd see a really true groove develop with the right side tires, and you could always just sneak under it a little bit, you know, and it seemed a lot harder to do that today with this car. So, you know, I think Goodyear brought a great tire. I think it was fun to race on. It was kind of aggravating, you know, when you had that much rubber build up and then you would slide over it, but it was almost like a dirt track, you know, with a slick spot. You know, they either overwatered it or they didn't water it enough. You'd go in the corner, pitch it sideways, and whoosh, you'd slide through it worse, or you'd go in there and turn the wheel and hope that you wouldn't spin out. And so, you know, you always kind of had to be up on your toes, and that was the biggest struggle that I was seeing in the beginning of the race, because I felt like I was really good to begin a run, and then I would get looser as we went, and running over that rubber just made me looser yet. And I was really having a tough time hanging on. That's why I was drifting back. And once we got the car tightened up enough, I could turn the wheel to go over it straighter and just let the thing kind of go up the racetrack and then turn back down. It really seemed to be a lot better for me.
Gentlemen, congratulations, and thank you
guys.
for your time.
Thank you.